okay. Just bear with 1 second. Seems about right. Okay guys, good evening, or should I say konnichiwa, because we are here at Tokyo, the capital city of Japan. That is correct guys, we are here at Tokyo on the South Outer Loop for round 7, 8 and 9 of the BTCC Blueprints Porsche Cayman Supercup. I'm your host for this evening as per usual. On a Friday night, it is the one and only Hoppers. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you are watching the stream, guys. So yes, we are here for the first of the back-to-back races, or back-to-back rounds in Japan, should I say, for the BTCC Blueprints Porsche Cayman Supercup. And it is looking likely it's going to be a thrilling and exciting race. Compared to what has happened over the last couple of weeks, obviously we had Lake Maggiore last week on Italian soil. Then we're obviously at the home of the Spanish Grand Prix at Catalonia for the opening rounds. You know, it's been pretty much very exciting as a bullet train just goes past the start-finish line for this evening. So yes, if you hear any hissing, it is the bullet train technically going past. So hopefully you can all hear me, and hopefully there is no interference with the headset. We had a bit of dramas on Wednesday, but you know, it's going to be pretty much very exciting. I can't believe exactly how well this season is already been happening, and potentially it is going to be one of them. I just need to check something and then I will be with you very shortly. But just give me a moment. But it is going to be pretty much exciting this evening, and as I say, we will go through the points, and we will go through technically who is here, and technically what is happening up and down the world of Eldar racing. I believe at the moment the track is currently got 4 people on, but you know, that doesn't matter. We're not starting races till qualifying till 8:15 UK time. So yes, there will be a bit of time to potentially get to grips with this Japanese circuit. At the bottom of the hill, as Panos goes through it, is the chicane, and you are literally hopping and skipping the curbs. But let's go through the points, and let's go through exactly how things are going to pan out this evening. Hopefully it's a good race, and hopefully it will bring some amazing action throughout the evening. So in first place is none other than Lee Fitzy. He's on 151 after last week at Lake Maggiore. He took a double victory. His title nemesis is none other than Christian Swire, who's in second place with 2 points behind him. So Christian is on 149. Then you have Timmy Gill, which is currently 4th at the moment. He's obviously third in the standings with 123, 28 points behind at the moment. Then you have God Gift John, who we'll just focus on. He's 30 points behind leader Lee Fitzy with 121. Brian Ross is on 97. Then you have Dean Atkinson finding his limits. I believe from what I was saying, I believe I may have got the title wrong for this stream, but hey ho, never mind. It might be my own mistake. So this is actually now round 9, 10 and 11 of the championship. I'll just double check after, because we went to Blue Moon Bay as well, so you know, I could be potentially very wrong. So I do apologise if the title suggests it's very wrong on the stream. So I do apologise for that. It's my own stupid mistake. So yes, Dean Atkinson is on 89, then 10 points behind him is none other than Ismail Nemri. He's on 79, and then you've got Adam Morgan, as I like to call it, the pink highlighter machine. He's on 77, and then you have Jay Baxter on 68. Then you have Andrew Osler, aka the Rooster. He's on 63, so it's going to be looking forward to a good evening's racing. This evening you've got Richard Barton. Sadly, Richard is missing this evening. He's on 48. Then you have Dan Cope on 37, and then Max Robertson on 24. And series returnee, depending on how he's feeling, but at the moment he's out on track, is Mark Palmer on 17. So it's good to have Mark back on the grid this evening. And yes, as I say, it will be very much interesting. I do apologise, it's actually now right round 9, is it? Yeah, it potentially is now 10 and 11 and 12 of the championship. I'll just double check the calendar, as Timmy's suffering a bit of connection issues, I believe. Yes, it is now actually 10, 11 and 12. I do apologise, it is wrong on the stream, but hopefully it should be okay. Excuse me. Sorry about that, I was coughing. I didn't want to cough for very long. Then we go to Autopolis next week, so it is another Japanese track. So we are potentially back to back here in Japan. It's going to be very amazing to see what the guys can do. Autopolis will be on the full GP circuit. Then we head to Britain on the glorious Brands Hatch GP. Then we're back to Japan. We've been on the Fuji short circuit, so that's without the Dunlop chicane in the middle. Then we're on home turf for the Porsche Caymans at the Nürburgring GP to round out the season. So yes, there is tonight Autopolis, Brands, Fuji, and then the Nürburgring, which brings us to obviously 5 rounds to go and potentially 15 races, maybe 16 races to go. It's going to be pretty much very interesting to see what happens within the title, because obviously you've got the likes of Lee Fitzy and of course Christian Swire battling for first place at the moment. Either way, they both need to have a good results. They both need good results here this evening, and it could be potentially a nail biter towards, you know, I kind of thought tonight could be potentially, especially with the chicane in the middle where Mark Palmer is heading now. You know, it's going to be all or nothing. It could be very close and personal as to go through the chicane. You know, you've got to be careful because you could clip the potential sausage curb or the potential hump, and you know it may launch you, and you've got to be careful, especially making moves into that chicane. Obviously Tokyo Expressway South Outer Loop is very fictional. There is potentially now 3 penalty lines around here, so you know the penalties can potentially be taken in 3 places. So I'll just have a quick look at the penalty map. So as the hairpin, so the first hairpin before you reach, I believe we'll just see the hairpin, which is towards where the pit lane is. You have to, before you go around the hairpin, that's where you take one, potentially the long sort of before you get the uphill section, and then obviously the bit after the chicane of death on the start finish line is where Timmy is at the moment. And there's the bullet train. I think the Caymans are going to go faster than that bullet train this evening, I can guarantee it. But yes, Tokyo is quite the capital, heart of the capital city of Japan, and it's going to be potentially very interesting. As I say, I do apologise if the stream says rounds 7, 8 and 9. It's actually rounds 10, 11 and 12. I had a brain fade, so I do apologise. not like me. Obviously, it's one of them. Potentially, hopefully, things are going to go well on the stream this evening, and hopefully, we do have a good night of racing. So, what's going to happen this evening? It'll be very much, pretty much exciting to see what will happen. Obviously here at Tokyo, and it may be one of them, as you know, it could be, with it being how it is, you know, you've got 10 minutes of qualifying and potentially 8 laps around here. It's going to be probably 8 laps or trying to push it to the limit, you know, as Ismail hops that curb there. Like I say, you can hop 1 or 2 and potentially you could be okay if you hop 1 curb, but if you hop 2 and you've got a car near you, depending on which side you hop it, obviously it could push you out wide. And you know, there was rumours that there was going to be a Japanese thunderstorm this evening potentially taking place, but unfortunately the weather gods have changed their mind and give it bright blue sky, should I say, for this evening. So yes, anything can happen within obviously the racing, and potentially we'll see what goes on. You know, it could be all or nothing, you know, it could be pretty much exciting. Obviously where Ismail's heading to that hairpin now is where the penalty section is, so before he gets around the hairpin, if he had a penalty, he would have to get potentially get rid of it, but it could be, it's going to be now or never. I believe there's, you know, there's a lot of been a bit of, I'm not going to say argumentives, but there's been a few ifs and buts with some of the drivers as of last week at Largo, and you know, I think it's probably because of how the championship is, and technically there's rumours for next season. We don't know whether it's going to be 100%, but I believe the tyre compound is going to be changing slightly, so we'll have to see about that. But obviously, if you like what you see here, guys, we do have the Shell Lorman Motorsports British Touring Cars, hosted by the host with the most, Malcolm Argyle, the legendary Malcolm Argyle, should I say. And unfortunately, due to a few issues within MX5's, the Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs MX5 Championship, I believe they're on a week break because they've had a bit of there's been a bit of issues ongoing in that championship, so they're having a week break to try and iron out to see what's going on. So unfortunately there's no MX5 this evening, but you know, it could be potentially very interesting to see what happens, obviously with the Shell Lorman British Touring Cars, as well as us hosting the BTCC Blueprints Porsche Caymans. So there is potentially, as I say, there is a glitch that I'm aware of with a yellow flag, but whether that happens or not during racing, if it does happen, we'll give it a restart, and then if it happens again, then we may be calling it a night. But fingers crossed we don't, because I want some good racing and potentially, hopefully, get some proper class action. Obviously, as I say, as per usual, you know, do check out Eldar Sim Racing out on Facebook, and if you want to see potentially what we have on offer, obviously as of, I think it's as of a week on Monday, maybe on Monday, we've got also the JTCC Season 2 is returning, as well as the JTCC GR3, which is going to be very interesting. Tuesday we have the final rounds of the Peugeot 208 GTI Cup, which will be coming live and exclusive from none other than the Hammer Games, aka Nick Sargent. He will be doing the commentary for that, as well as myself, Hoppers, hosting, but it will all depend on some other commitments. I may be called elsewhere, so I may not be potentially taking part on Tuesday because of my other commitments, but we shall see whether that does happen. as I say, there is a yellow flag into sector, the first sector. I don't know whether it's because it's hampering with pit lane or not, but claims to be a yellow flag, which is a bit annoying at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then Wednesday there's a week off. I believe there's maybe a 2-week break because the Mugen Masters now has potentially season has finished, and then it will be going to the Manufacturer Cup, which will be hosted by Will Sutters. He has technically a Junior Cup ongoing for people that are new to racing. That'll be hosted by myself, Hoppers, doing the commentary. So it's looking likely at the moment. Going to see what's ongoing at the moment, but hopefully we should be okay. But as I say, so that will be taking place in 2 weeks. Thursday's a quiet night, so it potentially could be testing, or it could be just a bit of fun, but we shall see. There's potentially an F1 championship starting, and potentially there is going to be a Civic Cup happening on a Thursday. Friday's always the big one, because it all includes all 3 races apart from, well, all 3 championships, the Shell Lawn and British Touring Cars, BTCC Blueprints, Porsche Caymans, which is on screen, and of course the Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs Mazda MX-5s. As I said, the MX-5s are taking a bit of a sabbatical this week for a week, but we shall see whether, you know, what will happen after the break. Obviously, as I say, we have got potentially Sunday, as in this Sunday coming, the final round of the Idol 4 Cayman, which is Darren Baldwin's potentially Darren Baldwin's sponsorship. He's sponsoring the ACC, which is Assetto Corsa Competizione. That's hosted by Doug Idle, and with yours truly, Hoppers, doing the commentary as per usual. I'm going to just see what's going on, but hopefully you guys can hear me. And bear with me 1 second. Yeah, it's okay. I do apologise if you do hear my own voice in the background. I'm just checking to make sure the headset isn't hissing or potentially doing what it is doing. Oh, it's bear with 1 sec, guys, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay guys, I do apologise, we are just having, one of the guys is having connection issues, so we're going to try and restart the lobby. So hopefully he can join, but we'll see what happens. So we'll see if he can join. I do apologise, that was my own voice, yes. Good evening Ryan, thank you mate, hopefully it goes well, thank you. Hopefully we do get potentially Lee Fitzy into the lobby now and see what happens. It looks like he was struggling to connect and then it booted him, so hopefully he should be back, so we'll see what happens here. But so guys, yes, I do apologise for that. We have got potentially, now that Lee Fitzy's managed to get into potentially the lobby, it's going to be so much interesting to see what happens, what he can do. But as I say, apart from, I believe, Richard Barton this evening, I believe that's the only driver that is missing for this evening. Yeah, I'm just testing to make sure my headset isn't hitting, because it was hitting the other week, well during the week, and it was doing my head in. So yes, good evening, konnichiwa, or whatever, or good morning, good afternoon. I nearly said whatever then, that was a bit not fun, was it? But yes, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Well, if you're watching the stream guys, this is rounds 10, 11 and 12 of the BTCC Blueprints Porsche Cayman Supercup, so ignore that it does say 7, 8 and 9, which my own silly fault, and potentially it was probably because, you know, I was in a bit of a rush to get this lobby open, so potentially it doesn't matter, we all make mistakes, but it is going to be very interesting to see what happens this evening. As I say, qualifying starts at 7:45 UK time, and you know, it will be very much interesting to see what happens on the streets of Tokyo. As I say, we are back in Japan, so we're staying in Japan as of next week, as we go to the Autopolis GP circuit. Autopolis is going to be pretty much very interesting. I'm going to see technically just why I'm here. So Tokyo is here. way. That's crazy. So to get to Autopolis, if you were driving by road, because it is looking likely it is in the middle of nowhere, the nearest place to Autopolis is none other than Kirgushi, I think is however you pronounce it. Obviously it's 15 hours by road. That's absolute insane. Yes. Oh, not again. Give me a second, Darren. Cheers, mate. Just give me 1 second, mate. Okay, just bear with while I do sort out my headset. It does seem like there is an issue. So just give me 1 second, guys. Let's try now. If it does, just let me know, because it's kind of frustrating at the moment. Just give me 1 second. Try again, just give me a second, guys. It's obviously been a bit awkward. Okay, if it happens, then I'll have to obviously change to what. Don't know, because the spare headset's a bit weird as well. But just give me a second, guys. Thank you for pointing it out. It's much appreciated. Try again. Okay guys, I do apologise. So as I say, I do apologise if the headset is buzzing. I will try and get it fixed, or try and get it looked at. Over the weekend it's really annoying me at the moment, for some bizarre reason, but hopefully it's stopped. And if it hasn't, then I will try and sort it out before qualifying. Okay guys, as I say, I do apologise if the headset is buzzing. Hopefully it has stopped, but as I say, it's pretty much annoying at the moment. It's kind of really strange. Okay, give me a sec then, Darren. I'll try and swap to another headset, mate. Thank you for pointing it out, mate. It's much appreciated. It's really annoying me, but thank you. Okay, let's try this one and then let's see what happens. But at the moment it's starting to really stress me out a bit. Okay, just gonna test, see if the buzzing is still there. Like I really starting to wind me up a bit, but hopefully it shouldn't be, so I'm just going to double check. So I'll have a listen to on stream. So we have got 10 minutes until qualifying, so it should be okay. So if you do hear the buzzing, guys, can you just let us know? It's just, you know, just so I know what's exactly going on. Hopefully it shouldn't be. I've changed headset and hopefully it should be okay. I don't know whether it's because I had my PlayStation 4 camera plugged in as well, so I don't know whether it's to do with that, but you know, hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear now, and potentially it should be sorted. If not, I will get it sorted tomorrow, but we'll have to try and crack on as best as I can, because at the moment I haven't got another headset to hand. I'm using the spare one as we speak. At the moment it's looking likely that it's kind of really strange, you know. I do apologise, as I say, regarding the buzzing. It's not, you know, I technically don't ask for it to be done on purpose, but it's, you know, it's really been annoying since obviously Wednesday. Potentially anything can happen, but you know, please do let us know if you do hear it. But you know, thank you so much for pointing it out, and it does mean a lot for letting me know. So as I say, it's going to be very much interesting this evening going into qualifying for the 10th round of the championship, and you know, anything can happen, as we've got Timmy so far. Timmy Gill, he's done a 139.17117, so it could be pretty much very interesting to see what he can do around here. As I say, it's going to be very much interesting to see what these guys can do for this evening, and potentially push on for some quite amazing results and quite astounding results as well. So anything can happen here within the championship. It could open a championship, it could potentially bring the championship even more closer. So as I say, thank you so much for the ones that would let me know that their headset was playing up. As I say, it is much appreciated. It was annoying me. I didn't know it was happening. I couldn't hear it when I was obviously playing the stream, but obviously yes, it was. But hopefully it's sorted now. Potentially we'll crack on. Like I say, I don't know why it says a yellow flag into the chicane when no one's actually technically there, so it will be potentially be probably looked at. Hopefully it's not going to be hampering the race as much, but we shall see. But as I say, we've got at least coming up to 5 minutes now until qualifying, and that is the bullet train. You can hear it's not the headset, so if they go past when the bullet train is there, it's not the headset giving it like a whooshing. So you know, it's going to be very much interesting. So as I say, the buzzing from the headset, I do apologise. You know, I'm going to potentially look at potentially getting a new one and potentially looking to see why it does that. But hopefully you can hear me, and it will be fantastic for a good evening's race. Hopefully you can hear me. You're still there. Oh, it's still there. Come on, let's stop playing games. second, guys. Should be okay. Right, so yeah, we'll just carry on for the time being, but I will get it sorted for the weekend. It's not the best, and you know, I'll have to persevere for now, but hopefully you can hear me loud and clear, and I will try and talk through potentially some of the buzziness that is going on, but you know, it's starting to frustrate me a bit, but as I say, obviously 5 minutes till qualifying will kick start. I believe we do have potentially bar Richard Barton this evening. We do have 13 drivers, so we are potentially near enough at full capacity for the grid, so it's near enough for full grid this evening, and potentially it's going to be very mega and exciting. As I say, it will potentially, this circuit will bring some excitement and potentially an amazing action, hopefully. Obviously the easiest bit is to get a link on the toe for some of the people in front, and it could be potentially one of the easiest things. So as I say, it will be very much amazing to see what happens till qualifying. So I will put in the PSN on here potentially 4 minutes till qualifying if my keyboard decides to not play up. Well, it'll now be 3 minutes now. It's now 42. So there we go. Evening, Craig. Thank you so much, mate. Hope you can hear me. I'm having headset issues at the moment, so hopefully there's no buzzing in the background for you, mate. But if there is, let me know, please. So it's going to be very much interesting. As I say, technically there's obviously 13 drivers, so it's going to be very amazing to see what happens. Obviously we do have, as I say, 3 minutes till qualifying, so it is going to be pretty much interesting, as you can anticipate what will happen here on the streets of Tokyo, and it will be potentially and very interesting to see if the guys can make it, potentially, you know, without clipping the wall. The walls are in some places are very close and personal. Potentially going to be very exciting to see what happens. So, you know, it could be all or nothing here this evening. As I say, there's 2 points in it between Lee Fitzy and, of course, Christian Swire so far in going into tonight's round, and it could be potentially very much interesting to see what happens. Obviously, you know, as a couple of the cars are glitching in pit lane, and as Phil goes, hiya people, hello mates, how you doing? But it will be potentially very much an interesting, as I say, between Christian Swire and, of course, Lee Fitzy. Oh, for God's sake, here we go. Watch out for spiders. Okay, mate. I knew that was going to happen. But yes, it's going to be very much interesting because we've got 1 minute to go until qualifying. So hopefully we shall be seeing what happens very shortly. But you know, it's going to be pretty much amazing, and potentially when quarter 2 comes around, obviously the 10-minute qualifying, potentially there will be anticipation in the cockpit, and also rumour has it up and down pit lane that Lee Fitzy and Christian Swire are potentially on course for taking out the title this season, but anything can happen, and we've still got quite some time to see what happens. Obviously the bullet train is going past, that's not the headset, but you know, it's going to feel like there's going to be a lot, so hopefully we do get that's cool, mate, and you know, I do hopefully get qualifying underway very shortly. We're just going to see if everyone is ready, because it is going to be let's get going. So that's fine, mate. I'm glad you're watching. It means a lot. But hopefully, qualifying for 10 minutes around here, it's not going to be easy. As I say, I'm going to make sure everyone gets out of pit lane, just because there's potentially a lot of drivers going to be potentially diving out of pit lane very shortly. So Lee Fitzy will be potentially the last one to leave. Ismail Nemri is also there, so he's going to be potentially so we're just going to see about the flags. It could be potentially, at the moment, out on the out lap, it's looking likely it's okay at the moment. But at the moment, Jay Baxter is looking likely he's the last one to leave. I don't know whether he's having issues or not, but we shall see. But at the moment, we'll see if he's going to come out of pit lane. So we'll see if Jay Baxter's okay, as the guys are about to start flying laps. Potentially it's going to be very close to see Jay Baxter is in pit lane at the moment, so I don't know whether he's going to make it out, but we shall see, as potentially at the moment it's looking likely there is the guys with, yeah, he's just gone out pit lane, that's okay. So we've got 8 minutes to go in qualifying. It should be potentially very exciting now to see what happens with the likes of the faster guys that are obviously championship at the front of the championship, and then obviously some of the guys that are mid-table, so it will be potentially very exciting to see what on goes. We've got Timmy at the moment, I believe he's leading them away into the chicane at the bottom of the lap. He's having a bit of issues at the moment. He's obviously hops the curb. You got Mark Palmer and of course Panos there potentially for second or third at the moment. We shall see, because the factor will be getting a tow, as Timmy does a 139.5 and Panos goes with a 140.3. Mark Palmer actually did a 142.2. Dean Atkinson at the moment, fourth fastest. At the moment, I'll just get the times up because they're coming thick and fast here. I believe Lee Fitzy did a 140.2, so that's going to be very interesting. Dean Atkinson with 140.6. Ismail Nemri did a 140.7. Brian Ross with 141.0. And Christian Swire, second championship, with a 141.8 at the moment. So Aussie Rooster did a 142.3, so he's ninth fastest at the moment. Adam Morgan with a 143.7. Dan Cope with a 145.6 at the moment. Max Robinson with a 146.4. Lee Fitzy at the moment, just trying to lapse past him. Jay Baxter will be on his first flying lap, so we'll see what happens Timmy Gill at the moment pushing his way up to the chicane, so he's leading the pack at the moment. You've got Mark Palmer and of course God Gift John, so 3rd and 8th at the moment on the grid, essentially trying to link up a toe with each other with 5 minutes and 35 to go on the clock, so it is going to be very much interesting. So 5.5 minutes of this qualifying session to go. What is God Gift John going to do now? He doesn't improve. What does Mark Palmer do? He hasn't improved either. Brian Ross with a 141.0, which has pushed him 7th. Adam Morgan with a 140.4, which has pushed him up into 4th. Dan Cope with 144.4 there. Jay Baxter with a 142.6. Where's that put him on the grid? That's put him 11th at the moment, as Max Robertson and of course Dan Cope are 12th and 13th. So it's going to be pretty much very much exciting. We've got 4 minutes and 40 seconds, so anything can happen within this couple of lap times. It's kind of going to be very interesting with 4.5 minutes to go. Potentially it will be one of them. We've got Timmy out in front at the moment, leading qualifying. Obviously, you know, he's improved potentially massively. I don't know why it says his first lap was a 1 minute 11.2. That's pretty weird, to be fair. He's having a bit of issues there, but he's going to go through and essentially now set the benchmark yet again. Is he going to improve? No, he doesn't. That's a bit unfortunately. Fitzy's 2nd on the grid at the moment. Let's see what he can do. Panos takes provisional pole position with a 139.3 at the moment. Mark Palmer also Powell's still in 8th place at the moment, 141.5. Lee Fitzy with a 140.1. Dan Cope with a 143.2. Max Robertson with a 143.9. Scott Drifter, Christian Swire with a 140.5. So that's putting 5th fastest at the moment. Fair play to Mark Palmer. He's actually suffering a slight injury at the moment to his back, so he's obviously trying to push. He's actually now 9th fastest at the moment. We have 3 minutes to go in this qualifying session. I don't know why it says a blue flag when there isn't any cars in pit lane at the moment, as far as I'm aware. So it's a bit very iffy at the moment. We've got Aussie Rooster 10th fastest at the moment. He'll be pushing on. You've got Brian Ross, I believe, that was behind him. Yes, it was. So we've got 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go, so it's going to be pretty much tight and potentially very much interesting. But we have got Ginger Baxter 11th, Dan Cope 12th, Max Robertson 13th at the moment. But at the moment it is between Panos and of course as Panos clips the wall. That's exactly what I was on about during the practice session before. If you hop the curb, you can hit the wall, and if you had a car there you could potentially hit the car on the other side. So what's he going to do? Timmy hasn't improved on his lap time at the moment, but it is going to be very interesting with 2 minutes to go. What's Dean Atkinson and Adam Morgan going to do here? They haven't improved. Scott Drifter still 5th. Ismail Membri 7th fastest at the moment. He was fastest in that sector for a moment or two. Brian Ross in 8th at the moment. Ginger Baxter up into 10th with a 141.8, so that is pushed Aussie Rooster down into 11th at the moment. They're going to still push on. It's going to be potentially very much interesting with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. I believe we will see what will happen, because you've got Scott Drifter and Ismail, so Christian and Ismail Nemri potentially. I don't know whether Ismail's just diving into pit lane just to sit out the last minutes of the session. It looked like potentially him and Christian Swire had a bit of contact, but yes, that is probably what's known for around here. You've got Timmy potentially at the moment trying to fight on and potentially punch his way through the sausage curbs like a pipeline punch. So yes, it's going to be very much interesting to see what happens. Is he going to cross the line? Is he going to improve? Let's have a look. We have 30 seconds to go. Yes, he does, but it's only pushed him up, still in second with 139.3. Panos is obviously quite a few seconds, so he's 0.0032. Timmy sits out as Dean Atkinson up into 5th fastest now with a 140.4. Lee Fitzy up into 3rd, I think he was still 3rd, with 140.040. So obviously qualifying now has ended for some of the guys. Ismail Nemri is potentially out his outlet. Max Robertson with a 143.2, that's still put him 13th on the grid, so that's going to be potentially very interesting. So I believe at the moment these guys are now going to be pushing on, potentially to see what happens within obviously the first race of the evening here at Tokyo. As you got, I believe at the moment, Panos there potentially pushing on, potentially trying to go up the hill. He's about to approach, he's obviously purple sector in this sector, so he's going to be pretty much on the money at the moment, as I say, but anything can happen, and it will be very much interesting to see what happens within so let's see what is going to happen. Is he going to get fastest lap? Let's have a look. He's about to cross the line. Oh yes, he does. He gets 139.101. Oh, that was a good lap there. So let's see what Lee Fitzy can do. He's obviously Dean Atkinson with a 140.4 there. Lee Fitzy still 3rd fastest. Adam Morgan at the moment 5th. So Adam Morgan is now 5th. Dean Atkinson was 4th. Brian Ross 7th. Aussie Rooster 11th. I believe qualifying now is over and done with. Timmy's still in pit lane at the moment, so we are going to have to wait for we'll see what happens within potentially the race. It is going to be very much interesting, as I say. So let's see. We've got potentially Panos versus Timmy on pole position for the first race of the evening. And then we've got Lee Fitzy and Dean Atkinson from Adam Morgan. No, it's not British Touring Car star Adam Morgan. Just this is another guy called Adam Morgan. I have to say this every time. You've got Scrap Drifter followed by Brian Ross. Then you've got Ismail Nemri and Mark Palmer. So the guys from last season's Caymans are 8th and 9th. Then you have Ginger Baxter and of course Aussie Rooster. Then Dan Cope and Max Robertson at the rear of the field. But let's see if we can get through the first race, and hopefully it will be very much interesting to see. Just double checking, yes, I'm still on. So you've got Panos from Timmy, from Lee Fitzy, from of course Dean Atkinson, Adam Morgan, Scrap Drifter, Brian Ross, Ismail, Mark Palmer, Ginger Baxter, and of course Aussie Rooster and Max Robertson, and of course Dan Cope at the rear of the field. Cars are revving. It's a bit of a poor one. I couldn't see what was exactly happening on the start, but so far you've got Timmy trying to make a move on to Panos, potentially going into turn 1. But this is where it's going to be very tight and twisty, because not only are we going downhill towards the hairpin. Let's see what's happening. Scott Drifters in 6th place. Timmy gets a bit wide, clips the wall, I think. You've got Ginger Baxter and Mark Palmer 7th and 8th at the moment. Dan Cope up into 9th place at the moment, but it will be very much interesting as we go into the hairpin for the first time. You've got potentially three wide. Mark Palmer up into Brian Ross into the wall. Didn't see exactly what happened there. We'll see if we can pick it up on camera just for a moment. What happened to Brian here? Dan Cope gives him a bit of a tap, which was a bit unfortunate. Brian Ross now at the back of the field, but going up into the lead of the race at the moment. You do have Panos under threat from Timmy Gill, essentially for first place going up the hill. Timmy actually makes the move stick, going down towards the chicane. The sausage curbs are going to be waiting. This is going to be pretty much exciting. Hopping and skipping the curbs, guys. This is absolutely fantastic. I cannot believe what we are seeing. But at the moment, Lee Fitzy from Adam Morgan. Adam Morgan with a 5/10 penalty. That's going to cost him. Mark Palmer up into 4th place now from potentially 8th on the grid as Timmy leads the race. Mark Palmer, Scott Drifter also. I don't know whether Scott Drifter had a penalty. Dean Atkinson now 7th. Ginger Baxter and of course Ismail Nemri having a bit of a battle. We've got Aussie Rooster and Dan Cope 10th and 11th. Max Robertson 12th, followed by Brian Ross 13th at the moment. This is going to be pretty much very much exciting. I can believe you and guarantee you this. Scott Drifter and Mark Palmer essentially battling for 4th and 5th. Mark Palmer closes the door into the hairpin. Scott Drifter, it's alongside Mark Palmer there, fair play, but you've got Adam Morgan and Dean Atkinson, as well as Ginger Baxter and Aussie Rooster and Ismail Nemri. But I believe Adam Morgan is still there. Mark Palmer 5th and Christian Swire 4th. Ismail and Ginger Baxter are having a bit of a battle. These two returning to the series. Fantastic to see. Got Dan Cope in 11th. Max Robertson now under threat from Brian Ross as we go into the tunnel. We'll see what happens essentially between Scott Drifter and of course Mark Palmer at the moment. I believe Timmy's now eking out that gap from God's Gift John at the moment. Mark Palmer is struggling with back pain at the moment, but he's doing okay in 5th place at the moment. Fair play to him. We've got Dean Atkinson in 6th place, followed by Game Race AK and Ismail Nemri. Then you have Aussie Rooster and Ginger Baxter potentially pulling that gap. You've got, I believe Adam Morgan's had a bit of a mistake. I don't know whether he was in the chicane. Dan Cope is now 10th. You've got Brian Ross and of course Max Robertson. Max Robertson still essentially holding off Brian Ross. We'll go back up to see what's happening. We've got Timmy, God Gift John actually got past him as we are on lap 3 out of 8 at the moment. This is going to be fantastic stuff towards the end of the race. Timmy at the moment putting God Gift John under a lot of threat. Lee Fitzy behind him. Scott Drifter now eking out that gap now from Dean Atkinson as Mark Palmer is now dropped to 6th place. But you've got Ginger Baxter under threat from Aussie Rooster at the moment. This is going to be a close battle as well. So the gingerbread car versus pale blue and lilac car as well. God Gift John actually under threat, well sort of under threat from now obviously Timmy and Lee Fitzy, but you've got Mark Palmer chasing down Dean Atkinson for potentially 5th place at the moment. Fair play to Mark, he's doing very well, I must admit. You've got Aussie Rooster and Ginger Baxter potentially pushing on for potentially 9th and 8th. Dan Cope 10th, Adam Morgan in 11th, followed by Brian Ross and now Max Robinson as Timmy now takes the lead from God Gift John potentially into the chicane. So it's going to be pretty much very interesting. You've got Lee Fitzy and Christian Swire in 3rd and 4th, followed by Dean Atkinson. Mark Palmer under threat now from Ismail Nemri, potentially for 6th place. Mark drops back down to 7th. Ismail actually makes the move stick. God give John under threat from Timmy. These two are battling like tooth and nail. It is going to be very interesting, battling like cat and dog as well. Timmy gets a bit of a jig, but this is going to be very much interesting because Lee Fitzy is about to make a move. Well, it was, but you know, you've got Timmy and God give John, followed by Lee Fitzy. Followed by Christian Swan and Scott Drifter. I don't know what happened to Ismail. Can we try and pick up in the replay? Just going down in towards the hairpin. I believe Mark just gives him a bit of a knock, but Ismail didn't expect the hairpin to be creeping up onto him slowly but surely, which is allowing Dan Cope up into 8th. Adam Morgan is now 9th. Ismail Nemri 10th, followed by Brian Ross and Mark Palmer, Max Robertson. But this battle for the lead at the moment with 5 laps to go. Timmy's going to make his favourite overtaking manoeuvre going into the chicane. Oh, the hop the curbs there, and it's going to be potentially very much interesting to see what happens. Well, I believe you've got Lee Fitzy trying to chase down these guys. You've got Christian Swire there, head of Lee Fitzy, championship leader, head of his title nemesis. Followed by Dean Atkinson, Ginger Baxter. This is good showing from Ginger. He's actually obviously on the money with that gingerbread car at the moment. Must be on fire potentially around here. He's even got Dan Cope potentially closing on Aussie Rooster. And then you've got Adam Morgan and of course Ismail Nemri potentially battling for 9th and 10th. Brian Ross 11th. Mark Palmer 12th from Max Robertson. But at the moment, God give John still got the lead of the race now from Timmy. Lee Fitzy's also there. So these guys, these 3, it could be potentially 4 if Christian Swire gets up to the back of these guys. Dean Atkinson there in the white and fluorescent green car in 5th place, followed by Ginger Baxter and Aussie Rooster. They're battling for 6th and 7th. Dan Cope not far behind at the moment, but you've got Brian Ross, Ismail Nemri, and of course Brian Ross there in 11th, Mark Palmer and Max Robertson at the tail of the field at the moment. But this is where the cat and dog fight is still hotting up between Timmy and of course Panos there, 1st and 2nd. Lee Fitzy now takes 2nd place from Timmy. I think Timmy clipped the wall, which then knocked him into Lee Fitzy there. Christian Swire potentially also on board, but you know it's going to be very close and personal as we go through the latter part of the lap. Ginger Baxter 6th rather from Aussie Rooster and Dan Cope. Adam Morgan under threat from Ismail Nemri, even though Ismail is 4.2 or 0.4 should I say. It's going to be very much interesting. There goes the bullet train, but you know Brian Ross potentially on course for 11th at the moment. Mark Palmer 12th, Max Robertson 13th. You can see this battle now in the lead of the race is between Lee Fitzy and of course Timmy. They're potentially, and of course Panos potentially battling now. They've got a gap between them. Christian Swire there, 4th place. Dean Atkinson 5th from Ginger Baxter. Ginger Baxter now under threat from Aussie Rooster. I believe Dan Cope is also within that battle. It is going to be very much interesting. Dan Cope drops down to 9th because I believe he got a bit sideways and a bit slow going onto that hairpin. So he's got Ismail Nemri in 10th place, following him behind. Brian Ross 11th, Mark Palmer 12th, and Max Robertson at the rear of the field. But Timmy's coming back to attack Lee Fitzy just as we join this battle, just about to go down the hill. It's potentially going to be very much interesting. Let's see what happens. Timmy now 2nd, Lee Fitzy 3rd. Dean Atkinson has a gap from Jay Baxter. That is under threat from Aussie Rooster. And of course Adam Morgan's also there, Ismail Nemri and Dan Cope into the chicane. Oh, Ismail Nemri actually gets past Dan Cope. I think Dan Cope actually sideways into the wall. That's cost him time. Brian Ross 11th, Mark Palmer 12th, Max Robinson 13th at the moment. Panos is eking out the gap as we are on to the penultimate lap of this race, round number 10 of the BTCC Blueprint Porsche Cayman Supercup here from Tokyo Expressway. As we get Timmy into second, Lee Fitzy third, Christian Swire fourth at the moment, Dean Atkinson fifth, Ginger Baxter actually doing a fantastic job in sixth place at the moment, Adam Morgan seventh from Aussie Rooster, and of course Ismail Nemri. Aussie Rooster gives Adam Morgan a bit of a tap into that hairpin bend there, but you know, that's probably because it's the slowest corner on the circuit at the moment. But you've got Dan Cope slowly but surely now getting caught by Brian Ross, Mark Palmer 12th. So Mark clipped the wall on the way out of the hairpin. Max Robertson potentially in 13th place at the moment. But you've got Timmy and of course Lee Fitzy, they're battling for second and third. And Panos is probably laughing inside that helmet thinking, what have I got to do? You know, but Timmy hops the curb there, gives it a hop, skip and a jump. Yes, that is correct. Lee Fitzy third, trying to chase him down as we go on to the final lap of the race. Christian Swire fourth, followed by Dean Atkinson and Ginger Baxter. He's got pace this evening. He's obviously doing fantastic. He's got that penalty though. Oh, that's a bit unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. Is that going to cost him time? Adam Morgan potentially now taking 6th place. Fair play from Ginge though. He's in top 7 at the moment. Well, he's inside the top 10, so better not put the commentator's curse on him. Aussie Rooster in 8th place, followed by Ismail Nemri at the moment. Dan Cope now 10th, followed by Brian Ross. Mark Palmer still there in 12th place at the moment. Fair play to him. Max Robertson 13th. But what is going on at the front? Panos is leading by 1.6 seconds from Timmy at the moment. Lee Fitzy is also there, potentially pushing on. Scott Drifter fourth, followed by Dean Atkinson and Adam Morgan. And I believe Ginger Baxter at the moment now has Ismail Nemri behind him. Potentially it's going to be very much interesting to see what happens. Aussie Rooster 9th. Dan Cope 10th, followed by Brian Ross, Mark Palmer and Max Robertson. But at the moment Timmy is under threat from Lee Fitzy going into the chicane. This is where it hops, skips and jumps, but Lee Fitzy at the moment is probably going to have to try and make a move. But at the moment it looks like Panos is going to take another well-deserved victory ahead of Timmy and of course Lee Fitzy. And then you've got Scott Drifter 4th, so the title contenders are 3rd and 4th. Dean Atkinson 5th, Adam Morgan will come home in 6th place, followed by Ginger Baxter. Fair play to Ginger Baxter, what a good result from Ismail Nemri and Aussie Rooster. Brian Ross actually gets Dan Cope for 10th place, Dan Cope at 11th, Mark Palmer in 12th, Max Robertson will come home 13th. But yes, it's going to be it's going to hot up because it is a rolling start and a full grid reversal for race number 2, and it will be potentially very much exciting to see. I'll tell you this, guys, it will be a absolute fabulous race. Hopefully the buzzing on the headset has stopped now, but hopefully it will be very much exciting to see what happens. So Panos gets the clean rate, fastest lap, as well as a victory. So I'm just going to get the result. Potentially going to be very much interesting to see what happens within obviously the evening. Let's see what I can do here, but let's see, we'll go through the race results before. We'll get the results of race number 1 before we get into race number 2. You've got God Gift John, followed by Timmy, followed by Lee Fitzy and Scott Drifter. Then Dean Atkinson, followed by Adam Morgan, Ginger Baxter and Ismail Nemri, 7th and 8th. Aussie Rooster 9th, Brian Ross 10th, Dan Cope 11th, Mark Palmer 12th, and Max Robertson 13th. Fastest lap actually went to Panos with a 1:39.4 on lap number 6. And yes, it is going to be very interesting to see what happens for the next race of the evening. As I say, it is potentially going to be a rolling start, and it will be previous race results. So it will be Max Robertson on just give me 1 second, guys. So it will be Max Robertson from Mark Palmer, from Dan Cope, from Brian Ross, from Aussie Rooster, and of course Ismail Nemri. Jay Baxter will be alongside him. Then you'll have Adam Morgan, Dean Atkinson, followed by Scott Drifter and Lee Fitzey and Timmy Gill, and of course Panos from the rear of the field. So the conditions are a bit cloudier for race number 2, so this will be a round number 11 of the championship. So it will be very much interesting. It will be probably a very interesting race, and I'll tell you this, we will have race 2 at 22 minutes past 8, so we'll give them a bit of a break just to go for a smoke, go for a drink, or go for a comfort break. So what is going to happen this in the next race? Hopefully you guys can hear me. So we'll see what happens for race number 2. So yes, it will be very much interesting to see what happens within this evening's race, but it will be one of them, and well, race number 2, and you know, it will be very much amazing to see what happens within a lot of stuff, but you know, it will be very much interesting to see. But obviously, as I say, it will be all or nothing. It is a rolling start, and it will be a full grid reversal, so anything can happen between now and then. But obviously conditions are now slightly cloudier, and it looks like the Japanese rain gods are wanting to play ball this evening, but obviously it will not be won't be raining, so hopefully but it will potentially be very much interesting to see what happens. Obviously, you know, there is potential for fireworks in these reverse grids. Obviously, race 1 is a full qualifying result, and it'll be a standing start. Race 2 is a full grid reversal, and it will be whoever obviously finished last in race number 1, and then race 3 is a standing start, and it will be the finishing positions of race number 2. All drivers are technically on super soft tyres for this this series. As I say, there is rumours potentially we are going to be changing the compound for next season, and it will be pretty much very exciting to see what happens within each of their own the Death Chicane, as it's known by some of the guys. I don't think that it's called the Chicane of Death, I just think it's called the Hop, Skip and Jump Chicane. But you know, if that's what they like to call it, then fair play. But yeah, it'll be very exciting with 2 minutes to go. Hopefully the guys are going to be back very shortly to see what happens for race number 2. So yes, be sure to check us out on Eldar Racing. You've also got Sheldon and Motorsport British Touring Cars this evening. Sadly, due to a few issues in the Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs MX5 Championship, that is not being competed this evening for reasons like that, but they will be at Suzuka next week, so they are a week behind. As of next week, we are, as I say, we are at Autopolis for rounds 13, 14 and 15, not 10, 11 and 12. This is 10 and 11 and 12 tonight, so it will be potentially very much interesting to see what happens. So we are just getting ready for the second race of the evening, so it will be very much interesting to see what happens for this evening, and hopefully we shall get a good race. It will be potentially very much interesting to see what happens within each of their own, so we are waiting to get race number 2 on the go, so we shall be pretty much ready to go. Hopefully the guys are ready, so let's get ready to rock and roll. Let's do this. So let's get ready as a bullet train goes past. God knows how often these bullet trains run, but you know. But yes, the cars are going faster than the Japanese bullet train this evening, and it will be very much exciting to see what happens. It will be Max Robertson on pole position from Mark Palmer, and of course Dan Cope from Brian Ross, Aussie Rooster, Ismail Nemri, Shay Baxter, Adam Morgan, Dean Atkinson, Christian Swire, as well as the rest of the field. But yes, everyone is here. I feel sorry for Panos. He's starting at the chicane at the rear of the field, but you know, it can't be helped. It's just the way the rolling starts, unfortunately, persevere. But you've got Max Robertson. Can he convert it into a win? We'll soon find out as he gets the foot flat to the floor. And we've got Mark Palmer already trying to chase him down at the moment. And then Dan Cope, followed by Brian Ross, Aussie Rooster, Ismail Nemri, Adam Morgan, and of course Dean Atkinson, Scott Drifter, Lee Fitzy and Timmy, followed by Panos. So it's going to be looking very much interesting. Max Robertson straight away into the hairpin, going down into the hairpin, should I say. Ginger Baxter gets a bit loose, going downhill, as Max Robertson is under threat already from Mark Palmer, and of course Dan Cope. Oh, didn't really see what happened there. Can we see what actually went on? Because let's see what happened with Mark Palmer, because it was actually Mark Palmer there. There's a bit of a tap from, I believe, Dan Cope. Yes, he does. Dan Cope actually leads the race from Brian Ross at the moment. So Dan Cope is first place, followed by Brian Ross and Ginger Baxter, already up into third place. Aussie Rooster and Dean Atkinson, followed by Scott Drifter. At the moment, this is going to be close and personal. Scott Drifter tries to go the long side of Dean Atkinson, which he does. Scott Drifter up into fourth place, which allowed Dean Atkinson to potentially join. Oh, Jay Baxter. What happened to Jay Baxter? I think he clipped got clipped by Brian Ross going into the chicane, but Dan Cope at the moment first place, followed by Christian Swire, which is a bit weird because I can't select him at the moment. So he's under foot from Brian Ross at the moment. He's now second. Brian Ross drops down to fourth. Dan Cope leading the race from Dean Atkinson. Well, Scott Drifter and obviously Brian Ross. Ginger Baxter fifth place at the moment. Fair play. Timmy up into sixth place, followed by Lee Fitzey and Adam Morgan. Panos is ninth. Mark Palmer after his bit of a mistake. 10th, Aussie Rooster 11th, Max Robertson 12th, Ismail Nemri 13th. So Dan Cope at the moment leading the race from Scott Drifter, and Dean Atkinson puts Brian Ross under so much pressure that Dean Atkinson actually gets third place at the moment. But you've got Jay Baxter in fifth place at the moment, Timmy Gill behind him. And then you've got Adam Morgan in the highlighter trying to chase down Lee Fitzey at the moment. You've got God Give John 9th, Mark Palmer now 10th, Aussie Rooster 11th, Max Robinson 12th, followed by Ismail Nemri 13th. So Dan Cope at the moment in the lead of the race, followed by Scott Drifter and Dean Atkinson and Brian Ross are having a bit of a battle. You can see in the background Lee Fitzey. And of course Timmy potentially battling for 5th and 6th towards the chicane. This is going to probably end in tears. You've got Ginger Baxter trying to make a move on Adam Morgan as well going into that chicane. You've got Panos also filing through, so Timmy at the moment is now piling the pressure on Brian Ross for potentially 4th place at the moment. Is he going to get it done? I think so, because Brian Ross is also there. Brian Ross has got to will take the inside. You've got Lee Fitzey and Adam Morgan potentially battling. Jay Baxter and God Give John are 8th and 9th at the moment. Mark Palmer 10th. You've got Max Robertson 11th. Ismail Nemri 12th. And Aussie Rooster at the tail of the field. Dan Cope and Scott Drifter are having a bit of a ding-dong battle there, which was potentially a bit of a strange one. Dan Cope trying to chase down Christian Swire for now first place at the moment. It's trying to put him under a lot of pressure. Timmy there in third place from Dean Atkinson and of course Brian Ross, and of course Lee Fitzey. Adam Morgan, the pink highlighter machine, is now 7th. Panos is 8th. God Give John, that is Jay Baxter 9th. Mark Palmer 10th, Max Robertson 11th, and Ismail Nemri behind him 12th place, Aussie Rooster 13th. But going back to this battle, Christian Swire at the moment trying to eke out that gap potentially from Dan Cope. Timmy and Dean Atkinson are battling. Brian Ross tries to get past potentially Brian. Where is Brian? Brian's now 7th. Sorry, that was Lee Fitzey. Lee Fitzey's under threat from... Oh, Panos gets a bit of a jig and a jive going after that chicane. Lee Fitzey's now putting Dean Atkinson under a lot of pressure. Dan Cope at the moment in 2nd place, trying to defend like mad from Timmy at the moment. This is going to probably end in a lot of tears and potentially a lot of monumental pushing on. Dan Cope and Dean Atkinson are having a bit of a battle. Dean Atkinson there. Oh, Lee Fitzey and Dean have a bit of contact. Panos and Adam Morgan and Panos all together. We'll see what's going on. Dan Cope 3rd place at the moment from Lee Fitzey at the moment. Dan Cope there in the white, orange and black car potentially pushing on. Clips the wall there, which is still allowed him in 3rd place at the moment. Mark Palmer and Ginger Baxter 9th and 10th respectively. Ismail Nemri is now 11th. Max Robertson is now 12th. Aussie Rooster still in 13th at the moment. Dan Cope is now under threat from Lee Fitzey, and of course Dean Atkinson under threat from Adam Morgan at the moment. That that's going to be pretty much interesting, because you've got God Give John race 1 winner potentially pushing on as well, so that's going to be potentially going into near enough to chicane. Adam Morgan gets pushed a bit wide, he's a bit fraught and a bit close for comfort there. We'll see what happens. Dan Cope still in third place at the moment. Lee Fitzy clips the wall going out of the chicane. That's cost him time there, so Mark Palmer will potentially get past him. Ismail Nemri also nearly did the same in 11th place. Max Robertson 12th, followed by Aussie Rooster 13th. Scott Drifter at the moment leading the race at the moment, so this is probably going to be very much interesting. We are on lap number 5 out of 8, so we've got potentially 3 laps to go. Dan Cope at the moment under threat from Panos now, so it's going to be very much interesting to see what happens. Adam Morgan 5th, followed by Dean Atkinson, followed by Brian Ross and Ginger Baxter. Mark Palmer now 9th, Lee 10th at the moment. Ismail Nemri 11th, Max Robertson 12th, and Aussie Rooster 13th. Excuse me, we've got this battle between Panos and of course Dan Cope for 3rd at the moment. Do apologise, seem to knock my volume down a bit, but Dan Cope at the moment from Panos potentially pushing on. Panos is alongside him. Dan Cope is potentially going to try and hold on potentially for 3rd place at the moment, but we shall see. Panos takes 3rd place from Dan Cope, but Dan Cope still fighting back. It's going to be very much interesting as we go up the hill towards Ben there. It will be very interesting going down the other side as God Give John actually tucks into 3rd place very nicely going into the chicane. Dan Cope also there going to put him under a lot of pressure going into the last couple of laps. Dean Atkinson clips the wall, which has pushed him down into 8th place. It's a bit of a shame really. Mark Palmer now potentially still 10th. Ismail Nemri in 11th, Max Robertson 12th, and Aussie Rooster 13th. So this is where it's going to get fraught. Adam Morgan and of course Dan Cope pushing on potentially for 5th and 4th at the moment, or 4th and 5th should I say. Dan Cope clips the wall with Adam Morgan pushing him on a bit, you know, potentially going to be very much interesting. Dan Cope with Brian Ross behind him at the moment. Brian Ross probably may have a bit of a line going into the hairpin. Brian Ross actually makes the move stick. Dan Cope pushes him a tiny bit wide, chops the nose off there from Brian Ross, but Brian Ross is still pushing on. Ginger Baxter now 7th, Dean Atkinson 8th, Lee Fitzy 9th, Mark Palmer 10th, Ismail Nemri 11th, Max Robertson 12th, and Aussie Rooster 13th. But I'll tell you what, closest battle I'm seeing at the moment is between Dan Cope and of course Brian Ross, potentially for 6th, 5th and 6th. At the moment Dan Cope all over trying to jiggle the way, stop Brian Ross from getting past him. Brian Ross will potentially have the inside, but it is looking likely that Dan Cope is on a mission. He's just clipped the wall there, which has cost him a bit of ground to Adam Morgan there, but it will be potentially very much interesting going on to the penultimate lap of the race. Ginger Baxter trying to chase down Brian Ross at the moment. It will be very much interesting. Dean Atkinson, Lee Fitzy potentially in 10th. Ismail Nemri chasing him down for 10th place at the moment. Max Robertson 12th, followed by Aussie Rooster 13th. Timmy's now brought the gap down for a bit, trying to chase after Christian Swire as we are on the penultimate lap. As you can see, the close battle at the moment, what I can see is obviously Dan Cope and Brian Ross, as Ginger Baxter is also lurking in the background, so the Gingerbread Machine is also going to be there, so he's going to be potentially pushing on. The skies are still looking threatening over Tokyo at the moment, but it's going to be very much exciting as Brian Ross gets to move on. Dan Cope going into the hairpin. Dan Cope at the minute tries to, obviously, I don't know whether he pushed Brian Ross wide, but Brian Ross has now dropped down into 7th with Jay Baxter now 6th, followed by Lee Fitzy and Dean Atkinson for 8th and 9th. And this is going to be potentially very much interesting. Got Mark Palmer and Ismail Nemri for 10th and 11th. Obviously Max Robinson is 12th at the moment, but at the moment Dean Atkinson and the Fitzy potentially battling for, as the Fitzy tries to hold on for dear life. Ginger Baxter and Dan Cope potentially battling now, so these two are going to have a bit of a battle. Let's see what happens. Dan Cope into the chicane, chasing after Jay Baxter. Jay Baxter actually nails it this time. Brian Ross gets a bit out of shape, which has cost him a bit of ground. Jay Baxter 5th place at the moment. So Dean Atkinson now potentially still holding off from Lee Fitzy. Mark Palmer and Ismail Nemri 10th and 11th. Max Robinson 12th. And Aussie Rooster, and of course Max Robinson. Max Robinson is 12th, and Aussie Rooster 13th. Timmy's still trying to catch up to Christian, but you've got Panos 3rd at the moment, followed by Adam Morgan and Ginger Baxter. Potentially Ginger Baxter is so under threat from Dan Cope, potentially seeing what happens here. But you've got Brian Ross and the Fitzy battling away as well. So Ginger Baxter there in 5th place at the moment, goes a bit on the defensive, trying to get trying to keep at bay Dan Cope for 6th place at the moment. So Jay's trying to defend his 5th place. Brian Ross now in 7th, Dean Atkinson 8th, the Fitzy now 9th. Mark Palmer and Ismail Numry 10th and 11th, Max Robinson 12th, Aussie Rooster 13th. But coming to this battle, as we are on the final lap of the race, Timmy is in 1st place at the moment. Christian Swire is 2nd place at the moment. This is going to be probably fantastic. It is going to be very much interesting to see, as God Gift John is now 3rd. We've got Adam Morgan, Jay Baxter under threat from Dan Cope, as Dan Cope and Jay Baxter have a bit of contact going out of the chicane there. Timmy takes a well-deserved victory though from Christian Swire. Adam Morgan will come home 4th. Jay Baxter, is he going to get 5th on the line? Yes he is. Dan Cope 6th. Dean Atkinson and Brian Ross potentially in 8th and 9th. Dean Atkinson, not Dean Atkinson, Lee Fitzy 7th, Mark Palmer 10th, Ismail Nemri 11th, and Max Robinson 12th, and then obviously Aussie Rooster 13th. It's a bit unfortunate for Aussie this evening. He's having probably a bit of a nightmare around here, but it will potentially be very much interesting as we go into the last race of the evening. So let's see what happens for race number 3. But I'm going to say this, Timmy, what about Timmy? He takes another well-deserved victory. He's obviously wanting very good race. He's got good racecraft, I must admit, here at Tokyo this evening. I'm going to go through the results very shortly. I'll just get the results and of course the replays, and potentially we'll see what happens here. But at the moment in 1st place was Timmy, followed by Christian Swire, so 1st and 2nd. God Gift John 13th, and then obviously just get the last bit of the thing there because I will need that. So Christian Swire 2nd, God Gift John 3rd, followed by Adam Morgan and Ginger Baxter. Dan Cope 6th, Lee Fitzy 7th, and of course Dean Atkinson and Brian Ross 9th, 8th and 9th. Mark Palmer 10th, even though Mark is suffering with a bit of pain with his back. He finished 10th. Ismail Nemri 11th, followed by Max Robertson and Aussie Rooster. But let's see what race 3 will bring. Race 3 is potentially going to be bringing a lot of interest. I believe we are going to be heading into sunny conditions, so it will be so we'll see what happens in the final race of the evening. So let's see. Okay. So let's see what will happen in race number 3 here at Tokyo Expressway. Obviously it is going to be very much interesting to see what happens. So the grid will be Timmy from Scott Drifter from God Give John, followed by Adam Morgan from Ginger Baxter and Dan Cope. Lee Fitzy will be 7th, Dean Atkinson 8th, then Brian Ross 9th, then you've got Mark Palmer and Ismail Numri, and then of course Max Robertson and of course Aussie Rooster. So we've got 1 minute to go until the last race of the evening, and we shall see what happens. So we're going to wait and see if Max Robertson will potentially push on for. Just going to see if he will, because So let's see if we are ready to go, because we are getting ready for... Let's get going. Let's go. See what happens in the last race of the evening. It's going to be pretty much very much exciting to see, but obviously, as I say, we do have the last race of the evening, BTCC Blueprints Porsche Cayman Supercup here at Tokyo. So we do have Timmy from Scott Drifter and God Gives John, so it's kind of reverse of the kind of qualifying session. You've got Timmy, Scott Drifter, God Gives John, Adam Morgan, Jay Baxter, Dan Cope, Lee Fitzley, Brian Ross and Dean Atkinson, and obviously Rooster and Max Robinson at the back of the field. But let's see what happens in the last race of the evening. As I say, it's going to be very much interesting, and we're going to keep an eye on the battles galore. Christian clips the wall there, as Panos is already under threat from Adam Morgan in 4th place at the moment. Dan Cope and of course Lee Fitzy potentially seeing what is going on. Jay Baxter down in 7th, Dean Atkinson already launching up into potentially 8th place, potentially trying to push in on. But Dan Cope at the moment is in 6th place. So this is going to be where it gets all or nothing, because it's into the hairpin for the first time, and it is quite a tight hairpin as well. But at the moment, God Gives John in potentially, he still says he's 3rd. Yes, he is 3rd. He's under threat at the moment from Adam Morgan, Lee Fitzy and Dan Cope, Ismail and Ginger Baxter, followed by Brian. No, it's not. It's Dean Atkinson, followed by Brian Ross, and of course Mark Palmer, Aussie Rooster up into 12th already, with Max Robinson 13th. I believe there is a battle going on for potentially 1st place. Christian Swire, Timmy and God Give John, so the top 3 from race number 1. That was almost 3 wide going into the uphill section. Timmy is also trying to eke out that gap. Adam Morgan already up into 4th place, showing what he is made of. So the hop, skipping, jumping the curve. But it is going to be very much interesting. Jay Baxter at the moment having a bit of a nightmare for race. Like Brian Ross, 12th. A couple of drivers have got penalties. Dean Atkinson is one of them. But it is going to be very much interesting. Timmy 1st place, followed by God Give John. So Panos is potentially trying to get past Timmy for potentially 1st place at the moment. Christian Swire. Oh, a bit of door rubbing there. Panos clips the wall. Oh, that's a bit unfortunate. It's pushed him down to 3rd. Adam Morgan 4th. Lee Fitzy 5th. Followed by Dan Cope in 6th place at the moment, but this is the battle in front. Christian Swire dropped down. Where is he dropped? He's dropped down to 5th. He's got Adam Morgan now, 3rd place. Christian Swire 4th. Lee Fitzy 5th. At the moment, Dan Cope 6th. Mark Palmer 7th with Ismail Lemon 8th. Followed by Brian Ross and Ginger Baxter. Max Robinson 11th. Dean Atkinson 12th, and Aussie Rooster 13th. Timmy's now eking out that gap from Panos and of course Adam Morgan, the Fitzy and Christian Swire. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. Aussie Rooster had a bit of technical difficulties in his Cayman at the moment, but this is going to be very much exciting to see what happens between obviously these guys up front. You've got Dan Cope 6th, Mark Palmer and Ismail Nemri for 7th and 8th at the moment. Brian Ross 9th, Ginger Baxter 10th, Max Robinson 11th, Dean Atkinson in 12th place at the moment. Need a bit of a breather there. Panos in 2nd place. No, he's not. He's now 3rd because he's lost a place to Adam Morgan, as Adam Morgan makes the move. Christian Swire under pressure from his title nemesis, the Fitzy at the moment. Dan Cope 6th, followed by Ismail Nemri and Mark Palmer. Brian Ross 9th, Ginger Baxter 10th, and Dean Atkinson and Max Robinson 11th and 12th. But what's going on up and towards the front? Christian Swire and of course Lee Fitzie's title protagonists for this season, potentially 4th and 5th at the moment in this race. This is going to be pretty much going to be very much exciting. You know, you've got Timmy and Adam Morgan there, potentially latching, Panos is latching onto the back of Adam Morgan, as well as Lee Fitzie trying to do exactly the same to Christian Swider. Dan Cope 6th, Ismail and Mark Palmer 7th and 8th. Mark Palmer is actually under pressure from Brian Ross at the moment. It is going to be pretty much exciting stuff. We've got Dean Atkinson now up in 10th place, Ginger Baxter 11th, Max Robertson now 12th. But you've got Adam Morgan now up into 2nd, where Panos is now dropped down to 3rd. Adam Morgan now has a penalty though, which is a bit unfortunate. That's going to cost him a bit of time. So it's cost him, is it cost him time? It has cost him time, but it's cost him only a little. Adam Morgan is now dropped down to potentially 5th place. Christian Swire and Adam Morgan there potentially battling battles galore, which is allowed Lee Fitzie up into 3rd place. God give John now. He's in 2nd, followed by Scott Drifter in 4th, Adam Morgan 5th. Dan Cope now getting a bit under serious threat from Ismail Nemri there, potentially for 6th place. Mark Palmer and Brian Ross for 8th and 9th, followed by Dean Atkinson and Jay Baxter for 10th and 11th, and Max Robertson not far behind at the moment. Mark Palmer and Brian Ross into the hairpin. Mark Palmer makes the move, spectacularly well done. We've got Lee Fitzie and Christian Swire and of course Adam Morgan 3rd, 4th and 5th. This is going to be potentially could be ended in tears at some point, but we shall see. Lee Fitzie there and Christian Swire followed by Adam Morgan. It's going to be pretty much exciting. Believe Ismail Nemri and of course Dan Cope. Ismail tries to make a move on Dan Cope going up the uphill section. Ismail is going to try and close the door. Ismail is going to try and get him into the chicane. We're already on lap 4 out of 8. You see here Christian Swire and Adam Morgan have a bit of a knock in each other's door, but you know it's going to be fantastic to see Adam Morgan up back into 4th place, now trying to chase down Lee Fitzie there for 3rd. Godgift John is trying to chase down Timmy, but Timmy's about 2.7 seconds ahead of him. Adam Morgan still putting Lee Fitzie for pressure for 3rd place at the moment, followed by Scott Drifter. Oh, this is going to be very much interesting. Dan Cope flashing his light to line where he's got an issue with Ismail Nemri behind him. Mark Palmer and Dean Atkinson now 8th and 9th. Ginger Baxter now 10th. Brian Ross 11th. And Max Robertson not far behind in 12th place. Lee Fitzie at the moment doing exceptionally well, trying to keep Adam Morgan at bay, but Christian Swire's also pulling it back potentially, but we will see what's happening. Dan Cope and Ismail Nemri potentially battling for 6th and 7th. And we've got Dean Atkinson now 8th. Mark Palmer falling into the clutches of Brian Ross and of course Ginger Baxter. This is going to be potentially very close and personal as well. You've got Max Robertson still trying to chase down the pack, but you know he's going to be okay. Lee Fitzie and of course Adam Morgan are going to be very much on the tail, but Christian Swire is also there. We'll see what happens in a moment or two, because Ismail Nemri and Dan Cope have a bit of a tap going towards the chicane. This is going to be pretty close. Ismail Nemri potentially trying to hop the curb and try to get a launch, as we've got Adam Morgan with a penalty, and was that Lee Fitzie? I believe Christian Swire now is 4th. Lee Fitzie is still 3rd. Panos is trying to chase down Timmy, but Timmy is way up the road at the moment. This is going to be fantastic stuff. Dan Cope under threat from Ismail Nemri. Ismail is going to be trying every trick in the book, and potentially the magic trick book of tricks should be prevailing to Ismail Nemri, potentially trying to get past Dan Cope for 6th place at the moment. Dean Atkinson and Ginger Baxter now from Mark Palmer, Brian Ross, Max Robertson 12th. but at the moment the main battle we can see here is Dan Cope and of course Ismail Nemri going into the hairpin. Ismail is just about on Dan Cope's back bumper, but it is going to be pretty much between these two at the moment. Dan Cope for 6th place at the moment, under threat from Ismail Nemri. It's going to be potentially very much interesting. I'm going to watch this battle with ease, because if you see Dan Cope there trying to defend, but Ismail is trying to get past him, which he does, which has allowed what Dan Cope's got in. The mirrors are nearly coming off each other's car there. Obviously, luckily they don't, but Ismail is going to potentially have the inside line going into the chicane, but Dan Cope's also there. Let's see what is going to happen, who's going to brake. Oh, Dan Cope just pushes it a bit wide there, which has cost Ismail Nemri a bit of time, which has now made Ismail fall into the clutches of Dean Atkinson. Oh, it's a bit unfortunate there, but maybe the stewards may look at that. You've got Ginger Baxter 9th, followed by Mark Palmer and Brian Ross now 11th, Max Robertson 12th. We're on the penultimate lap of the race. You've got Timmy, followed by Godgift John, Lee Fitzey and Scott Drifter, Adam Morgan now 5th, and you've got Dean Atkinson chasing down Dan Cope, and Ismail Nemri is also going to be part of this battle. But look at this, Dean Atkinson on a massive charge from Dan Cope at the moment, but it will be potentially Dan Cope has to drop in behind Dean Atkinson there. Dan Cope gets a bit sideways because Dean Atkinson cuts him off. But then you got Ismail Nemri, Mark Palmer and Ginger Baxter. These two were having a bit of a battle last season as well. But you've got this battle as well. But we'll try and get to that battle as well. Mark Palmer now still in 9th. Ismail Nemri trying to get past Dan Cope for potentially 7th place. But you've got Dean Atkinson already in 6th place, but he's got, you know, Dan Cope potentially pushing on. Don't know whether Ismail's got a bit of problem there. He's got his hazard light on. He's trying to get past Dean Atkinson, flashing the lights, and he's got his hazard light on. I don't know whether he means to have his hazard light on. It will remain to be seen. But we will see going into the final lap of the race. Ismail Nemri smacks the wall there, which has cost him severely. Dropped him down into 11th. It's actually now, oh, that's a bit unfortunate. He's actually, I don't know whether he had internet issues, but going back, Lee Fitzey and Scott Drifter for 3rd and 4th at the moment. Dean Atkinson all over, potentially trying to escape the wrath of Dan Cope. Essentially, Dan Cope still, I believe he's still got his hazard light on. Yes, he has. I don't know why he's got his hazard light on there. Potentially, is it a distraction? Ginger Baxter 8th, Brian Ross 9th, and Mark Palmer potentially for 9th and 10th. But you've got Dan Cope trying to push on Dean Atkinson at the moment. You've got Mark Palmer and Brian Ross potentially for 9th and 10th. Mark Palmer tries to, oh, he tries to make a move, spin, oh. Brian Ross gets a bit of a tap, loses ground on Mark Palmer, but fair play, Mark Palmer gives him the place back. Max Robertson's trying to chase down these guys. Timmy at the moment still in 1st place, followed by Godgift John, but Lee Fitzey's closed the gaps. Oh no, he hasn't. He's lost 3rd place to Christian Swire. Oh, they have a bit of contact. Christian Swire gets a bit of a love tap from his championship rival. But what about this? Timmy from pole position, potentially taking another victory in the Porsche Cayman. That's going to push the championship wide open. Panos finishes 2nd. Lee Fitzey and Christian Swire battling for 3rd on the line. But Christian Swire has to settle for 4th. Adam Morgan 5th, followed by Dean Atkinson and of course Dan Cope for 6th and 7th. Ginger Baxter will come home in 8th, followed by Brian Ross and Mark Palmer, and then Max Robertson in 11th. Sadly, we lost Aussie Rooster and Ismail Nemri, and believe that was quite close and probably quite a bit personal as well in some parts of the race, but you know, it's going to be all or nothing, but we will see. Right, I will go through the results very quickly because I've got to be elsewhere. But yes, so race number 3, so this was round number 12 of the series. You got Timmy from God Gift John, followed by Lee Fitzy, and of course Scrap Drifter, Adam Morgan. 5th from Dean Atkinson, Dan Cope, Ginger Baxter, Brian Ross, Mark Palmer and Max Robertson. Sadly we lost Ismail Nemri, even though it said he was classified 13th on Aussie Rooster. Fastest lap actually went to God Gift John on lap number 5 with a 1:39.3, and I tell you what, it's going to be very much interesting to see what happens. So we'll see what happens in potentially a week's time when we head to Autopolis, and the championship battle is probably going to be wide open. So I've been Hoppers, and without further ado guys, I will see you guys at Autopolis, and it may be very much interesting. So thank you so much guys, speak to you later, ta-ra.